There's a tab open on your coworker's laptop right now that they will close the second you walk past. Not because it's shameful, because it's useful and they've decided you don't need to know about it. Last month, I started asking people a question. Not, do you use AI at work? Everyone says yes to that one now. It's boring. I asked something narrower. What's actually open in your browser right now? Not the approved tool, the real one. The answers didn't match the company policy. Not even close. At first, I thought I'd just found a few rule breakers. Except when researchers went looking for the same thing at scale, they didn't find a few people. They found that this is now the default behavior of the modern workplace. One global study put the number at 57% of employees who admit to actively hiding their AI use from their employer. 57%. That's not a rebellious minority. That's most of the room. And here's what makes it stranger. The people you'd expect to be doing this the least turn out to be doing it the most. Picture the kind of person you'd assume is enforcing the AI policy, a department head, someone senior enough to have signed off on the rules in the first place. Now, here's the part that doesn't fit. Senior decision-makers are more than twice as likely as their own teams to be using AI tools that were never approved. Say that back to yourself slowly. The people writing the policy are breaking it more than the people it was written for. At first, that sounds like hypocrisy, until you look at why people actually say they hide it, and the reasons are almost disappointingly ordinary. Roughly a third say they're avoiding scrutiny from a manager. Another chunk blame a policy that's vague or so restrictive it doesn't match how the work actually gets done. Others just don't want to be judged by coworkers for needing the help. Nobody in these numbers is describing a heist. They're describing people quietly solving a problem the rulebook never accounted for. And that gap between the rule and the reality might explain something else researchers found. 72% of office workers believe they understand how to use AI for their job better than the team whose entire mandate is governing AI at their company. So maybe this was never really about rule breaking. Maybe it's about who actually knows what they're doing. But if that's true, how big does this gap actually get once you zoom out from individuals to entire companies? Here's where it stops being a story about a few people and becomes a story about infrastructure. Imagine two office buildings standing side by side. One is the company everyone can see on the org chart, official subscriptions, approved software, a line item in the budget. The other is invisible. Same employees, same desks, but running on tools nobody signed a contract for. According to one widely cited MIT study, that second invisible building is bigger. Workers at more than 90% of companies use personal chatbot accounts for daily tasks. Meanwhile, only around 40% of those same companies have any official AI subscription at all. Read that gap again. 90% unofficial, 40% official. The approved version of AI at work isn't the norm. It's the minority case. Which raises an uncomfortable question for anyone running a security team. If the real usage is invisible, what exactly are you actually protecting? Multiple 2026 surveys found the honest answer. Most organizations simply don't have visibility into which applications, AI or otherwise, their employees use day to day. Not because nobody cares, because the tools people reach for change faster than any policy can be written to cover them. That sounds like an IT problem, a dashboard problem, something for the compliance team to sort out eventually. Except the actual cost of that blind spot doesn't show up on a compliance report first. It shows up somewhere much smaller and much more human. Here's a scenario. Nothing dramatic. That's the point. Someone on a finance team is behind on a routine task, draft a collections email, chase an overdue payment. The tool is right there, already open in another tab. already fast. So they paste in what they need to reference, a customer's name, an account number, a balance, into a free public AI tool with no enterprise data protection behind it. 10 seconds, task done. Nobody sees it happen. No alarm goes off. That's it. That's the whole incident. No hacker, no malware, no dramatic breach narrative. Just someone trying to finish a boring task a little faster. And it turns out that mundane moment, repeated across thousands of desks, is the actual failure mode behind a large share of AI-related data exposure right now. Not sophisticated attacks, just paste, send, forget. You'd think companies would be racing to close that gap with training. Here's the strange part. Nearly 2/3 of organizations still haven't given their employees any formal AI training at all. So the people most likely to create the next quiet incident aren't reckless. They're just making a reasonable guess about where the line is, because nobody ever drew it for them. Which brings us back to that 57% from the beginning, because now it looks less like deception and more like something else entirely. So, is hiding your AI use at work actually wrong? At first, that seems like an easy yes, until you trace it back to where it actually starts. A policy written by leaders who, statistically, are more likely than their own staff to be breaking it, a governance team that most employees believe understands the tools less than they do, and a training gap so wide that most people are simply guessing. Concealment, in that light, isn't the problem. It's a symptom of it. The real fix was never catch the people hiding it. It's closing the distance between what employees are already quietly doing and what the organization actually accounts for. Because that gap, not the AI itself, is where nearly all of the risk lives. Here's the thing worth sitting with, long after this video ends. Every company thinks its biggest AI risk is the tool. It's usually the silence around it. So if there's a tab open on your laptop right now that you'd close if someone walked past, the question isn't whether you'll get caught. It's whether you actually know what you just typed into it.